访问中国10天之久，他说
I think that the objective was to see as much of the reality of China before I got to talk to the leaders.
看到中国的发展成就，他说
Where there is a national will, it can be achieved at our own relative pace.
面对一些国家选边站的要求，他说
I do not want to be drawn into that. And if others do not like that and want to alienate us because of that, they're free.
高端访谈专访斐济总理兰布卡，敬请收看。
关注国际焦点，洞察世界风云。大家好，欢迎收看本期高端访谈，我是王冠。在国际日期变更线的西侧，有一个可以拥抱新的一天第一缕阳光的国家，它就是被称为南太平洋十字路口的斐济。今天我们的对话嘉宾是斐济总理兰布卡。30年后再次访华，他如何看待中国的发展变化？10天的访华行程给他留下了哪些深刻的印象？他期待中国和斐济的进一步合作给两国人民带来怎样的福祉？而面对一些国家选边站的要求，他又有怎样的回应？让我们一起在对话中寻找答案。So, Your Excellency Prime Minister Rabuka, welcome to Leaders Talk on China Media Group and welcome to Beijing again. You're fresh out of the meeting with President Xi Jinping. How did the meeting go?
It went very well, surprisingly. I was expecting to be scared and meeting such a great man, leading such a great nation with 1.4 billion people. That's a big thing. To come from an island territory, island nation of less than a million people, and to have the opportunity to speak with one of the greatest leaders of the world. It was a very human, very cordial discussion and meeting. I was very happy.
During your meeting with President Xi, we learned that you talked about the fact that you read his books. Is that true?
Yes, I'm reading his book, and it's very, very, very informative.
Which book?
The Up and Out of Poverty. Yeah, that's the book he wrote about those impoverished villages and districts that he had worked in when he was a young officer in the CCP, and we saw the result of the work he had done in those villages in the first day of our visit. Very, very encouraging. And the people there are living very happily. There is no more signs of poverty.
What's his reaction knowing that you read his book?
He looked surprised because he probably thought that not many people would read his book. I was fortunate. I was given his book very quickly, got through it because I wanted to know what this man is all about. And simple things like leaving your high office and going down to the grassroots people to hear from them what the problems are, and also working out with them what the solution should be. Those ones are the easiest routes to taking the people, carrying the people with you, cooperating with you, you cooperating with them, and making meaningful decisions about their own development.
兰布卡曾于1994年访问中国，30年后再次访华，他选择从云南的麻栗坡县开始。麻栗坡县曾是中国最贫困的地区之一，但凭借有针对性的政策支持和一系列产业发展举措，该县在2020年摆脱了极端贫困。
Nowhere in Fiji have we seen any improvement to be close to what we have seen here.
在麻栗坡，兰布卡访问村庄，深入了解中国的乡村振兴战略以及当地特色农业和民族文化保护情况。他还到村民家中聆听了村民的讲述。
We have a lot to learn, and I have been making a lot of notes since I arrived on how we might be able to turn the little things in the villages into big things in the provinces and the nation.
在抵达北京之前，兰布卡还访问了福建、浙江等地。
So, Prime Minister Rabuka, you're making actually a 10-day trip to China. That is extraordinary, considering the length for a visiting head of government. 10 days. What are the reasoning, the considerations behind?
I think that the objective was to see as much of the reality of China before I got to talk to the leaders. Otherwise, it would have been just a courtesy call. You know the right things you want to say to the leaders. And I have just confirmed to him that we appreciate very much what he has done and the role that China plays in the world today.
On your first stop to that mountainous village in Yunnan, and your next trip took you to Cctv, one of the largest lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles in China. What's your takeaway from that trip?
You're way ahead of most other countries around the world. We would like to move faster. We would like to develop faster. We have a lot of hydroelectricity sources still available that have not been developed. Those are the areas that we want to go into. Rather than getting that, we keep buying our fuel, our gases.
Mr. Prime Minister, can you show you a video? It is a video of none other than you yourself, I believe, in Yiwu, China. So you're basically, as I understand, watching a live streaming e-commerce. That is a transaction volume is astronomical.
Yeah.
You look pretty serious in that video, listening seriously and thinking. So, Mr. Prime Minister, what went through your mind watching it?
What was going through my mind is that my great-grandchildren have these little things with them. But we use it to watch cartoons and things like that, not to engage in e-commerce, where you can sit somewhere and what's that? I want that. And you place your order. And it'll come through the mail, through the air, by sea, whatever. But on the day they promise you, those two young people chatting to each other say, it'll get to you on such and such a day. It does. That was the most amazing thing I was thinking during those times, when my great-grandchildren can play around with those gadgets without realizing that they could be the biggest shaker of the world of today and of the years to come, e-commerce.
So, Mr. Prime Minister, maybe you can start considering bringing this live streaming e-commerce back to Fiji, or helping Fiji products being featured via these platforms, selling more Fiji products to the 1 billion Chinese consumers.
Yes, we have some products. What we have to do is to tell the people that they are good. Once you do that, they will be bought. And the easiest way to sell them is all through those
influencers. Okay, so talking about China-Fiji relations, what keywords would you use to characterize, to define this relationship as it evolves and develops?
I believe that we are basically tribal people. We are people of the region, and we have that affinity, that natural affinity with one another. Mutual respect, respect for our differences, and cooperation in our similarities for the development of those areas.
Can you elaborate going forward?
Going forward, we will have to, China will have to understand the slow economic progress rate we have. Everybody's been talking about, look, we need this, we need these roads. And we have to, as leaders, have to educate our people. Look, we cannot have those bullet trains traveling all over Fiji. They'll run out of rails, run out of miles.
You took a bullet train.
Yes.
You took a ride on it.
Yeah. Three rides.
Liked it?
I liked it.
You know, we have been talking about the Chinese path towards modernization over the past 40, 50 years. As an outsider, as an observer, how would you tell your Pacific friends when you go back home about the Chinese path towards modernization now that you've spent so much time here?
Where there is a national will, it can be achieved at our own relative pace. Right now, none of the islands would like to have all these nice things that you have in China. But we would like to have good education, good drinking water, all the things that the Sustainable Development Goals promote. We want to do that at the scale which is applicable to the number of people we have on our islands, considering our resources, natural resources, and capabilities.
斐济位于西南太平洋中心，横跨东西半球，180度经线贯穿其中，是全球每天最早迎来新一天的国度之一。 它由数百个岛屿组成，还拥有绚丽的珊瑚礁、风光旖旎，渔业资源丰富。斐济旱季牲畜缺乏饲料，菌类产品完全依赖进口。中国专家们克服重重困难，在斐济精心培育菌草苗。不但繁衍出百亩草原，还源源不断地为斐济全国提供菌草苗，为其发展自己的食用菌产业打下了基础。此外，斐济的气候适合甘蔗生长，制糖是当地的传统工业，因此斐济又有甜岛之称。长期以来，中国与斐济在甘蔗种植上的合作，也为斐济提高甘蔗的产量与糖分、减少病害等方面提供了经验与帮助。一颗花蕾将孕育出千百万个果实，这是斐济著名的谚语。而中斐的合作之花结下的不只是果实，更有两国间的友谊和深情。
Talking about agriculture, I heard that Juntao, or mushroom grass, is fast becoming very popular in Fiji and other Pacific Island states. People in Fiji called it, if I'm correct, the happy grass from China, and over 1,000 farming households in Fiji have benefited from it. Is that true, Mr. Prime Minister?
That is true, and it will continue to grow. As we run out of grazing land, there will be a need for us to rely more on lot feeding for our cattle, particularly in the dairy cattle. And we reduce the size of the farm, but we increase the production.
And I heard that it's also good for oil preservation and anti-desertification.
Yes, it is good for both, because you can also use a product from it to grow mushroom. And mushroom is getting very, very popular in the world now.
My producer got me this photo. It is from Fiji, the happy grass.
Right.
From China. Good for soil preservation and gaining yields, and for animal feeds, and as well as crops. It's a beautiful place. Happy faces. Big mushrooms there, I must say. Ooh.
It was never a regular appearance in Fijian tables, mushroom. It's been developed lately, very lately.
So why is mushroom so big in Fiji?
Because it looks good. When the Chinese eat it, must be good, so we start eating. No, they develop the taste, and now it's part of that.
Talking about climate change, it is an issue that is very dear to your heart. You talk so much about ocean in many of your addresses and speeches. Perhaps I can ask you to educate and inform our viewers in China and around the world about what ocean means to you, as you're the leader of a country, archipelago country, consisting of over 300 islands surrounded by oceans. What does ocean mean to you?
Well, the ocean is what connects us and what keeps us together. We are in the Pacific Ocean. On the west, we have Asia. On the east, we have America. To the north, we have the North Pole. To the south, we have the South Pole. So we are connected to the world by the Pacific Ocean. And it is the source of life, the source of food, the source of health and wealth for the people of the Pacific.
You recently at UNGA said that Fiji is bearing the brunt of the climate crisis, although Fiji didn't really start it, and you called the Pacific Ocean is fast becoming the world's carbon sink. Help us understand, Mr. Prime Minister, the imminent danger of a changing climate to countries like Fiji.
Right now, we're witnessing a lot of coastal erosion, rising sea levels threatening many villages. We are into our village relocation programs, where we move them a little higher up the hills, up the slopes. Talking about inundation, seawater inundation, we are very fortunate that China has come forward with the types of rice and sugarcane that can survive in those areas. So there is no need for us to move the sugarcane fields up the hills. We can still plant sugarcane where we have been planting sugarcane, but the new varieties that can survive.
Mr. Prime Minister, you said countries like Fiji in the Blue Pacific are caught in the middle of growing geopolitical tensions. What will be your message to those who are fueling rivalries and encouraging Cold War-style bloc confrontations these days?
I believe we should understand our differences, as I said in response to one of your earlier questions, and work on our differences. And one of the principles of peaceful coexistence, the harmonious resolution of differences. Do not use force or the threat of force. And they are all in line with what I have in mind as I propose the ocean of peace. The Pacific has suffered a lot in the world wars. And now we would like to put all those behind us and develop an ocean of peace. And it's something that we must all strive for and not use our own will or wish to dominate, interfere with the harmonious coexistence of those in the region.
But do you feel sometimes countries like Fiji is cornered to choose friends? Because I've watched your interviews with some media outlets whereby you were basically grilled to pick sides as if you're either with China or with them. How do you feel about that?
I do not want to be drawn into that because we are friends with China and we are friends with others who may not be so friendly with China. And if others do not like that and want to alienate us because of that, they're free. If they cut us off, we will survive.
Yeah, we've seen how bloc confrontations unfold in the days of the Cold War. Mr. Prime Minister, you have this 2050 strategy for Blue Pacific continent, a concerted effort by you and your brother states, sister states in the region. What is that?
Well, it's all to do with the development goals of the world, of the United Nations, and the global sustainable development goals. We would like to continue and pursue those and pursue them peacefully and ensure the prosperity of the people and the land continue to improve without destroying any of our oceans, our lands, and our resources. We have so much that we have inherited and which is needed by the rest of the world. We do not want to exploit those to our own, to the detriment of our own peoples. I've come here and I've seen your fish farming, your net farming in the ocean. I said, well, that's one way of repopulating the ocean with the fish. So that is the sort of thing that we need to build into this architecture of the ocean, the blue continent, blue peaceful continent that we're thinking of.
And you said global solidarity and collective well-being of humanity is your ultimate goal. On the other hand, President Xi has been sharing his proposal of building this community of shared future, in particular community of shared future between China and Pacific Island states. Do you identify with them? Because of your own
identify
accord?
very, very much with his ideals. Grown out of village settings, and you are closer to nature then. And you know what is important to nature? Nature is peace. Everything about nature is peaceful. So when you have that, when you were brought up in that, and it's in your psyche, it's in your body, it's in your mind.
Fiji joined the Group of Friends for Global Development Initiative, another initiative proposed by President Xi Jinping. Why would you join it? Why would Fiji be part of it?
Because it's part of it's the way the world is going. The way the world is going should be where we should be also going. And why be left behind?
You represented Fiji, this is impressive, in not one or two, but 4 sports during the 1974 British Commonwealth Games in shot put, hammer throw, discus, and wow, decathlon. And also you represented Fiji National Rugby Union team in the 1970s. I want to ask you this, Mr. Prime Minister, what do doing sports have in common with doing politics and governing a state?
The drive to achieve something. In the team, in sports, you want to do well for the team. In politics, you want to do well for the nation.
So we're marking the 75th anniversary of the founding of People's Republic of China. Before we let you go, can we ask you to say a few words to the nation as we will be celebrating our 75th anniversary?
I congratulate China on its 75 years of this great journey. And next year, we celebrate 50 years of our own diplomatic relations. And I, this afternoon, had conveyed an invitation from my president to your president, if you could, on one of his overseas trips next year, make a detour and call on Fiji. We would like to celebrate with him our 50 years of diplomatic relations.
Prime Minister Rabuka, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you. 在采访中，兰布卡总理给我们讲述了他在中国多地访问的所感所得。他感叹中国的发展成就，表示此次访问收获满满。人们也期待着即将迎来建交50周年的两国能够在更多领域加强合作，携手构建更加紧密的中国同太平洋岛国命运共同体。好，感谢您收看本期高端访谈，我是王冠，我们下期再会。